As we know, General Conference has been delayed until August, September of 2021 because of the pandemic. What do you think about the idea of having a virtual event? Would such an event, if there has to be a further delay in General Conference because of the pandemic, would a virtual General Conference disenfranchise people in the central conferences? Do you think we can make complicated decisions like this virtually? Or how might we think about ensuring equity in participation for all regions if we had to have a virtual General Conference? Do you have thoughts about that?
Yeah, those are some great questions. I think it'll be difficult to have a virtual General Conference. First of all, I think at this point, and really for the conference planned for August, September, I don't think it will happen. I don't think it will be safe. I don't think many of the delegates would not have received the vaccine in August, September. I don't expect travel across the world to be possible at that time. So an alternative would be some kind of virtual meeting, but that presents some serious problems. I've been in so many online meetings over these last years, and so often have had the experience that some people are not able to connect because of poor internet connection or unstable internet connection, and that can happen in all parts of the world. And some parts of the world have more difficulties with this than others. So I would say that the more wealthy countries, they would have an advantage, and that would be a serious equity problem in the church. We are already not on an unequal footing, when we're using an American parliamentary system like Robert's Rules of Order, and then to continue to give certain parts of the church an advantage because they're able to participate more freely on an online platform than others. I just don't think that would be just. That would not be right, and that would not correspond with who we are. I understand the urgency that many people are talking about with getting to a General Conference, and many feel that there are important things on our agenda that we really need to deal with, and we cannot continue to push that before us. And in a way, it feels to me like they close their eyes for the reality that we are in as the world. For decades, we have been a very self-centered, self-occupied church. We have focused too much on our own UMC belly button, and I've been part of this. There's so many voices speaking about the necessity of getting to a General Conference as soon as possible, or sometimes almost at any cost. But we forget that we are in the middle of a global pandemic. Hundreds of thousands of people have died. Thousands of people are dying from this across the world right now. Our countries are on a lockdown. The wealthy countries, and I live in one of those wealthy countries, have made sure that they have more than enough vaccines. And they are just buying because they can afford it. But the rest of the world is on its own. I heard in a report from South Africa just a few days ago where they are struggling with a new mutation, and they're not even sure that the vaccines that we have will be effective on that mutation. And the person who was being interviewed said that our government has bought enough vaccines for 10% of the population to receive the vaccine before the end of this year. 10%, and South Africa is not one of the poorest countries in the world. So the world struggled to recover from the impact of the pandemic, or will begin to struggle to recover. Right now we are fighting it. And we seem to think that the most important matter on our agenda as a United Methodist Church is to solve our own internal tensions. What are we thinking? Is that really what God is calling the United Methodist Church to do in 2021? Is that really the most important thing for us to come together? Shouldn't we rather come together to explore and discern what is God calling us to do in a world suffering from serious problems? How can we best be the church during this time and serve the people God loved? We seem to have forgotten that God so loved the world. And this is just becoming, increasingly clear to me that we really have our focus in the wrong place.
That's a vision of a church that focuses on mission, that focuses on bringing together social holiness and personal holiness, that focuses on what is God's call to the church, as opposed to our tendency to look inward at ourselves, and that is our struggle. But it gets back to Wesley's question of what do we teach? Yeah. And to begin to teach that and to call people to that and to inspire around that. Mm-hmm. Bishop Alsted, is there anything that I haven't asked that you would want to say?
I think we've covered a lot of areas in this conversation, but I just want to get back to what I think is, at least to me, is the core question, and that is, what is God calling us to do? How is He calling us to engage in His mission at this time? We are really at a very special time in this world. When have we ever been in a situation? I mean, it's probably if we go back perhaps to World War II. But have we since World War II ever been in a situation where a large part of the world's population have had the same experience of a life-threatening disease? At that time, it was a life-threatening, destructive war, but now it's a life-threatening disease that really that really threatens our way of life, our everyday life, and everything has changed for us in this past year. So where is God calling us to be the church? What is He calling us to be in the middle of this? That is my big question, and it's also my prayer. God, where are you calling us to be?